Hey, great to see you today. Todd Robinson here, and we're going to talk about change. Not change you get at the grocery store or at the gas station, but we're going to talk about real heart change. Change in our lives. What does it take to change? All of us need to change something. I need to change something. You need to change something. And why is change so difficult for us? Why does it seem that we can change for a little bit? Maybe we change something in our lives and it'll last maybe a week or 2 weeks or a month or maybe in a couple of years, but then we don't sustain that change, and it can be very, very, very difficult to change. I'm sitting here in this house right now, and this is a house that my wife and I bought last year. Sits across the street from our house, and it was in disrepair. A lot of problems over here with this house, and so when we bought it, it smelled bad. The floor joists were caving in. The main wall in the house was collapsing. It smelled just terrible. Cats were living in here, and had been doing their business in here, and nothing was right about this house at all. The outside was overgrown with trees, and if you looked at it from Google Earth, the trees had grown up over the house, and you could barely see the roof of the house, and the trash was probably 2 feet deep in here, and it was just a disaster in here. This house needed to change, and some of us could probably say that about our lives. Hey man, that's how my life is right now. It's just falling apart. This house was literally falling apart. It was just falling apart, and we got in here. It was very uncomfortable to purchase this house, um, and then to spend the money to fix it up and to do the things that needed to be done to it to make it into just it's beautiful in here now. It's just the nicest quaint little place, and just a joy to be in here. It was not a joy to be in here last year at this time. It was not a joy at all, and we want to bring change into our life, to have joy in our life, to have satisfaction in our life, to have purpose in our life. It's not change for the sake of change. It's change for purpose. And so many times, so many of us, we don't change because we don't see purpose in our life. We don't see really who we are. We don't know really what God's created us to be. So I want to talk about some things, 10 things that I wrote down. And it could be 20 things, because I could probably be done with this and then put down 10 more things that have been valuable to me over the years, that I have found that help bring change to my life, long-lasting change. And we should always be changing. Change is never an end goal. There's always change to be made in my life. There's always change to be had. I can always get better. I'm never going to reach a point in life here on this earth where I can go, well, you know what, man, I've arrived. I don't need to change. I don't need to change anymore. I'm where I am. I'm where I need to be, and nothing needs to change in my life. And that's not true. We're all going through stages of life, and change needs to occur all the time. We need to be constantly reevaluating, evaluating, and reevaluating our life on a daily basis, and applying change to our life every single day. So. Let me start with number one here. I'm going to give you 10 things here. 10 things quickly that we need for change. Okay. Number one, if you're going to change, then you must want to change and then make choices in that direction. Okay. So if I don't want to change, then I'm not going to change. Now, some of us will say, well, I want to change, but then we're not willing to make the choices to change. Change is painful. It's hard. It gets us out of our routine. It gets us out of our comfort zone. It challenges us. And we're creatures of habit. Even if that habit is destroying me, I like the habit because it's comfortable. And therefore, I'm not willing to truly make the change. Though I want to change, I'm not going to change because I don't want to go through the hard work of changing. So it's that I want to change, and then I start to make the small choices for change. Now, change is never one big decision, one big choice, One big action and everything's better. That's not typically change. Change is small decisions every single day. Small decisions every single day got us to where we are. If I'm in a bad spot, small decisions every single day, every single hour, every single minute got us to where we are. Our life, where we are right now, is the result of all the decisions that we've made in our life to this point. So wherever you are right now is a result of all the choices that you have made every single day to where you are right now. Where I am right now is a result of all the choices that I have made over my lifetime. And I've made some bad choices. So there's some things in my life right now that are not good because of choices that I have made that I'm having to work on to change. And the good things in my life are there because I've made the choices over my lifetime to be where I am today. I've made those decisions on a daily basis. And I've made small choices every single day to get me where I am today. So, number one, you must want to change and then make choices in that direction. And if you're not ready to make choices in that direction, you're not ready to change. It's one thing to talk about change. It's another thing to do change. Okay? So I'm not going to just talk about change. I'm now going to start making choices in that direction of change. Doing the right things. I'm no longer going to make any more decisions that were taking me down the wrong path. I'm no longer going to make decisions that took me in the direction that have hurt me. I'm now only going to make decisions that help me, that put me in a whole new direction in life. So I've got to decide that right now. I've got to decide, am I ready today to make every single choice that I make will be in a direction of change for success. So number one, you must want to change and then make choices in that direction. And most of them are going to be just small, mundane choices, one step at a time, one decision at a time that I have to make that initially aren't going to look like they're doing much of anything, but they are. If I'm going to finish a marathon, I've got to take the first step. And when I take that first step in running that race, it doesn't seem like much of anything. But if I don't take the first step, then I don't take the second step. If I don't take the second step, I don't take the third step. And it continues on and it continues on until I cross the finish line. One step at a time. Takes discipline. Takes determination. It takes a focus. You got to have those things if you're going to change. Number one, you must want to change and then make choices in that direction. Number two is going to kind of point to all the rest of these things. It even points back to number one, attitude. I have to have an attitude of change. My attitude is critical to change. No negativity. I'm only going to be positive. No matter what the circumstance is, I'm only positive. Bad circumstances, I'm positive. Good circumstances, I'm positive. It's easy to be positive in the good circumstances. The challenge is going to be being positive in the bad circumstances, right? So no negativity, no quitting. I'm not going to quit. No excuses here. All right? A bad attitude finds excuses to not do anything, to not make changes. No excuses, no negativity, no pouting, none of that. We're putting those out right now. We're going to put those out of our mind right now. Here's a challenge that I've had over the last several months now. And all of us have. We go out to eat, we go to a restaurant, and boy, it is taking forever to get waited on. It's taking forever to get served. It's taking forever to get your check. And then on top of that, the prices have gone up. And boy, it is an opportunity to have a bad attitude. And I have had to decide that either don't go out to eat. If you're going to have a bad attitude about it, Todd, then don't go out to eat. But I like to go out. So B, if I'm going to go out, I've got to have a great attitude about it, no matter what the service is like. So take that opportunity to spend more time with your family, to encourage your waiter or your waitress, to be a blessing to them, to leave a big tip, even if you feel like they don't deserve it, because you're going to have a great attitude about where you're going into. You and I, we get to choose that attitude. Don't let somebody else choose your attitude for you. If you're going to change, you got to have an attitude of change. It's got to be an attitude that we adapt, and no matter what happens to me, I'm going forward. No matter what the setback is, I'm going forward. No matter what somebody else says about me, it doesn't matter what they say. It only matters what I'm doing going forward. So put those, if you're around people that have a bad attitude, get them out of your life. You don't need them. They're not going in the same direction you're going. Put them out. Get away from them. Kindly, lovingly, I can't be around you right now. You're not going in the same direction I'm going. We're going to have to part ways for a while until you change the way you are. But right now I'm going forward. You're not. I love you, but I can't be with you. So we have to change that. We have to change those people. So number one, you must want to change. Number two, an attitude of change. Number three is directly related to number two, no complaining. Man, we get caught up in complaining. This goes right back to that attitude, right? Complaining indicates you're not ready to change. Complaining indicates I'm not ready to change yet. I don't want to change. Things are too difficult. I'm just going to complain. I get back to the excuses. And I hate complaining. I hate it when I complain. And I complain. And I catch myself. If there was the 10 commandments, we should add, if I was God, I'd probably add an 11th commandment that says, thou shalt not complain. But the Bible does say that God hates complaining, but we shouldn't do it. But it's not. Then there are those 10 commandments. I make it the 11th one. Thou shalt not complain. I hate it. I hate complaining, and I catch myself wanting to do it. And boy, when I catch myself, I have to bite my tongue because it doesn't go anywhere good, right? So let's combine these two, attitude and complaining, right? This morning when I woke up, I've been running. I've gotten away from running for the last few years because of a back injury, and so now getting back to it, and it's tough. And I've worked my way up from just getting up and walking a little bit to now from running for 10 minutes to 20 minutes. Remember, we go back to number one here. You know, you got to if you want change, you got to do things that make change, one step at a time. And that's what I've been having to do, one step at a time. And my attitude this morning when I got up Monday morning, I don't feel like running. I got to get up, but I got up and I put on my shorts. I put on my running shoes. So even though my attitude is one that I don't want to run, I'm doing the things, I'm still going to do the things that are putting me in the best position to run. And then when I get outside, I take that first step and that second step, and then all of a sudden my attitude starts to change. So sometimes my attitude will not change until I start to do something. And complaining isn't going to get my attitude in the direction it needs to be for change. If I had got up this morning and come, oh man, I can't believe I got to run, and it's humid outside, and it's early, and it's still dark out, and that was not putting me in a position to succeed this morning. Now, when I got done running my 3 miles, I felt great. My attitude was completely different. It was awesome. I'm glad I did it, and it's going to motivate me for tomorrow. But I had to make the decision to put that stuff into action to get my attitude going in the right direction. So, no complaining. You got to be ready. If you're ready to change, you're going to put those things in motion, even if you don't feel like it. You're going to put them in motion, and we're going to make change happen. And we're going to sustain that change. Number 4, failure is your friend. Failure can defeat us if we don't see failure as a friend. Don't let failure defeat you. And don't let success suck you in and make you complacent, okay? So the danger of success is that success will make me complacent. Hey, I think I've arrived. I don't need to work any harder. I'm good. And then failure defeats me, and I tell myself, well, man, I'm not going to make it. This is just not worth it. That's neither of those is true. Okay? failure teaches me so much more than success will ever teach me. So I have got to, when I fail at something, I've got to sit back and reevaluate, what did I learn? What am I going to change? Who do I need to talk to? What do I need to reevaluate here? What is it that why did this not go right? What in the process did I not have? What resource do I need? What do I need? Again, what do I need to change? Maybe I don't need to do this at all. Maybe this is telling me that this is not a direction to go and I need to move, I need to change directions. Years ago, one of my biggest, most painful failures, and financial failures hurt bad. And I had a financial failure several years ago where I thought I was smarter than I really was, and I had been reading up on how to invest money in the stock market through options trading. Now, I think most of us will say we invest money in the stock market through mutual funds or through individual stocks, and that's fairly commonplace. But trading options is highly risky, and I put a significant amount of money in the options market. And if you know anything about the options market, we won't go into great detail here. It's highly risky, and you can lose it all quickly, or you can gain a lot quickly. And I didn't gain a lot quickly. I lost a lot quickly, and it hurt bad, and it taught me I have no business in the options trading market whatsoever. Highly risky. I didn't have the time to put into it, to research it, to monitor everything like I needed to do, and it just wasn't. And it taught me this isn't the direction you need to go. You need to change directions, Todd. You need to change your directions. Okay. Now, I invest money in real estate, and I have had some failures in real estate, but I'm still in it, and those failures have taught me how to succeed in real estate. And I'm not some real estate tycoon, but I'm just saying how we do have some rental properties in our own home, and they've been okay for us. They can produce an income for you. But it's trial and error. The first time that I bought a rental property, I was scared to death because my biggest fear was having a house catch on fire. And guess what happened? The house caught on fire. And you know what I learned? Hey, okay, this is recoverable. We can do this. I mean, it was somewhat of a failure. You don't want your house to catch on fire. But we learned something from that. And I said, oh, okay, man, yeah, this was a huge lesson for me. And I learned a lot, but it didn't make me quit. It just made me, I learned lessons from that helped me to become better at what I was doing. So we cannot fear failure. We cannot fear setbacks. We have to welcome them into our lives. And those things change us. They truly change us on the inside. And we'll talk about that. They change our value system on the inside. Okay, so we're gonna see failure as a friend, not as a foe. Failure is my friend, and I learn from it. I change directions from it. It teaches me, and I'm not going to be afraid of failure. Number 5, do the ordinary, and the extraordinary will show up. So yesterday was Sunday, and I went to church with my oldest daughter and her husband and their little baby, 7-month-old Amelia, my granddaughter. It was parent-child dedication at church yesterday, and so Amelia was obviously the child in that scenario, and then her parents, they were committing their raising of their children of Amelia to the Lord. And then also there was with us was my grandson Archie, who is 4 months old. Amelia's 7 months old. Archie's 4 months old. And they were all in church. We were all in church with my daughter and her husband, and there for the dedication. And then afterwards, their pastor preached a very intriguing message that, man, really grabbed me. And I think one of the reasons it grabbed me because it's very much related to the series we've been going through at our church. We've been going through a series called Ordinary People. How God uses ordinary people to do extraordinary things. Well, this message was on the ordinary, but it wasn't ordinary people. It was on doing the ordinary things of your day. the normal things of your day, the routine things of your day. You're doing them over and over and over again. And in those ordinary things, extraordinary results happen. God is not calling you and I to do extraordinary things. He does extraordinary things. We do ordinary things. God calls us to be obedient, to do the routine things day in and day out. Like for me today, the routine was to get up, to go for a run. While I'm running, I'm listening to my Bible app. When I come back, I spend time in prayer. Then I spend some time with my wife. And then I go to work. And I do the routine things of the day. And as I continue to do those things day after day after day, well, if I do the routine thing of running every day, well, over time I get in better shape and better shape and better shape. I get in extraordinary shape by doing the ordinary thing. My relationship with my wife, doing the ordinary things of every day with my wife, becomes an extraordinary relationship. I will brag on my wife. I have an extraordinary wife, and I believe I have an extraordinary marriage, because for 32 years we've just done the ordinary things. And in that, we have a marriage that's just been wonderful. I mean, I would say my marriage is, in my opinion, is a great, extraordinary marriage, because we've been doing the ordinary things every day for 32 years. And it makes it extraordinary. Doing the ordinary makes it extraordinary. Your finances the same way. Spending time in the Word of God the same way. Spending time in prayer the same way. And then God shows up in those ordinary things, and He does the extraordinary, because you've been putting in the work. This is related back to number 1 there, where it says, if you want to change, you got to make the decisions and the choices in that direction every day. Just the simple choices every single day, over and over and over. And sometimes it gets routine, and sometimes it gets mundane, and sometimes we get bored with it. And God says, keep doing it. Don't stop doing the ordinary things in your life to get the extraordinary results in your life. Do the ordinary. Stop trying to be something you're not. Just be you and do the ordinary things every single day, and the extraordinary will show up. I promise you that. Number 6, no comfort zones. Your change, the change you desire in your life, is not in your comfort zone. See, what's in your comfort zone is where you are. You are right where you are because it's comfortable. Even if it's destroying you, even if it's destroying your life, even if it's a drug addiction, no matter what it is, no matter what's in your life right now, you're living in that because it's in your comfort zone. Your change exists outside of your comfort zone. Your success exists outside of your comfort zone. What God has for you in your life, it exists outside of your comfort zone. If it was in your comfort zone, you wouldn't need God. But God says you do need Him. If everything you needed was right there in your grasp, and everything that was for you was right there in your grasp, you wouldn't need God, and you wouldn't need other people. But you need God, and you need other people. But we operate in our lives like we don't, therefore we don't change. Therefore we stay in our comfort zones. Everything in your life is outside of your comfort zone. I'm sitting in this house right now, and this house, when I bought it, it was nasty. It made me uncomfortable. Again, the walls were caving in, the floor was caving in, 2 feet of trash in here. It smelled to high heaven. Trees were overgrowing it. Nothing in here worked, and it was way overpriced. And I was way uncomfortable with this place. If I had not got out of my comfort zone, I wouldn't be sitting here now going, wow, what a beautiful place. What a great little house. What a place for somebody to live, come, and look at that fireplace behind me. Man, look at that, Look at these French doors, these double doors behind me. The reason those double doors weren't there, because the windows and that whole wall was in such bad shape that it was cheaper for me just to rip out the whole thing and just put those doors in there. And boy, it just lights up the room. So it, it was so uncomfortable. But there was not going to be anything different if I didn't get out of my comfort zone and do something. It changes the whole street. This house changes the personality of this whole street now because of the way this house looked when I bought it. Get out of your comfort zone. There's no change. Staying where you are, doing the things you've been doing because they're comfortable, even though you're no better off financially, you're no better off at work, you're no better off in your relationships, you're no better off in anything because you're staying in your comfort zone. Success is outside the comfort zone, not in it. We should wake up every single day going, whoa, this is uncomfortable. What I have before me is outside of my comfort zone. How am I going to do it? And you know what? You're not. You're going to need God and you're going to need other people to help you do it. So get out of that comfort zone and make a change in your life. Number 7, values over goals. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by values over goals? Many of us have found it easy to meet goals. Okay, if I set a goal, if I want to lose 40 pounds, I say, okay, I'm going to set a goal to lose 40 pounds. I set a goal, I want to stop using drugs. Okay, and maybe I even stop for a shorter period. I stop using for a short period. Or I lose weight, I lose the 40 pounds. But within 6 months, I've gained it back. Within 6 months, I'm using it again. Within within 6 months, my goal is to get out of debt. But within 6 months, I've run the credit card back up again. Why couldn't I sustain that change? Well, what you did is you met a goal, but you didn't change your values. It's one thing to meet a goal. It's another thing when you're meeting that goal to change your values. When you got out of that debt, you didn't value being debt-free long enough or strong enough to stay debt-free. You didn't value your health enough to keep the weight off. You didn't change your values. And until you change your values, until you change what you value, you're not going to change. So that leads us to number 8 is number 1, all right, in here. So number 7 was value you got to have values over goals, right? Meeting a goal is one thing, but I'm not going to sustain it without changing my value system. All right? So then number 8 is you got to value yourself. God made you, therefore you have value. You have a purpose in this world, therefore you have value. I don't care what anybody says about you. I don't care what anybody's called you. I don't care what people have said about you in your life. They don't determine whether or not you have value. God determines whether or not you have value. You decide whether or not you have value in your mind. Even if you don't believe you have value, you still have value. You just got to believe it. You can believe lies about yourself, or you can believe what God says about you, and God says you have value. So you have to value yourself. He's given you everything you need for life. He's given you the breath in your lungs. He's given you the skin on your body. He's given you the blood in your vein. He's given you everything you need for success because he values you. The problem is we don't believe him and we don't trust him, and therefore we don't do anything with it. And we've convinced ourselves that we have no value because of the things we've done with our lives. Don't let other people and don't let the things you've done define you. God defines you, nobody else. So number 8, value yourself. Number 9, value others. If you have value, then others have value. You have got to value other people. You have got to invite other people in your life and pour into other people because they have value. When you start to serve other people, your life will change. Things will change in you. Take care of yourself because you have value. Serve others because they have value. Doesn't matter if you agree with them or not politically or on a number of different things. We understand there's a lot of different opinions out there. But right now, we've got to decide that we're going to value other people, whether we agree with them or not. Do we value them enough to tell them about Jesus? Do we value them enough to serve them even if they don't agree with us on Jesus. You keep serving them because, excuse me, I got a cough. You keep serving them because that's what Jesus did. He kept serving them, and he kept serving them. It's not your job to change them. It's your job to serve them and let God change them. Okay, so do we value other people enough to serve other people? Do you value yourself enough to change and to walk in a new light? So number 8, value yourself. Number 9, value others. Then number 10, surround yourself with the best people. So now I'm looking for people who understand that they have value, and they understand that I have value, and they know more than I know, and they've been places I haven't been, and they're better than me. They know more than me. They have greater experiences than me, and I'm going to invite them into my life so that they can add value to me. Hang around the very, very, very best people. Bring them into your life. It doesn't have to be a lot. It can be a few, 2, 3, 4 people who are I have people in my life who I consider to be the best people that I invite into my life, and I say, please teach me, please show me, please help me, please call me out on the things that I'm not doing right, and please encourage me on the things that I am doing right. Please do that, and allow those people into your life. Bring them. You have to invite them into your life. If you want true lasting change, you will invite into your life the very best people to help you bring change and sustain change into your life. So those 10 things right there. Number 1, you must want to change and then make the choices in that direction. Number 2, an attitude of change. Number 3, no complaining. Number 4, failure is your friend. Number 5, do the ordinary and the extraordinary will show up. Number 6, no comfort zones. Number 7, values over goals. Number 8, value yourself. Number 9, value others. And number 10, surround yourself with the very best people. Tomorrow I could probably come in here and bring you 10 more because we could keep going on and on and on about. But those are the things that God laid on my heart today for change, true change in our lives. So those are the things right now that I want to pour into you. And tomorrow there could be 10 more, like I said, and I may bring 10 more for you, but I probably won't do that. But I'm reminded, when I look again, I'm going to come back to this house I'm sitting in, is that this house needed the right people inside of it and around it to change it. And we had to get uncomfortable. We had to tear down some walls. We had to rip out some floor joists, and we had to knock some walls down, and we had to take a sledgehammer to some things, and some things we had to carefully put back together, and other things we had to just rip apart. And that's what has to happen in our lives, and that's what we had to do here. Some things we had to just kind of weep over in this house and go, didn't know that was a problem too. That will happen when change is in your life. That will happen. There'll be some uh-ohs in your life. There'll be some great discomfort in your life. So very uncomfortable. This place was, I had to get uncomfortable now to get comfortable in here, to have a place that is going to be a blessing to other people. That's a blessing to the neighborhood. That's a blessing to us. But in order to get there, it was very uncomfortable. We had to want to change this place. And then it was just daily little things each and every day coming in here and just doing the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And then 10 months later, you're going, wow, man, look at the change that happened in this place. It didn't happen in a day. It took 8, 9, 10 months for that to happen. Every single day, working every single day, a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. And that was what made the greatest change. That's what's going to happen in your life. In a little bit of time, small changes every single day will make the greatest change in your life. No comfort zones. Do the ordinary and the extraordinary will show up. This is an extraordinary looking place now because we just did the ordinary every single day. And there's some things we made mistakes on, and I can look now and, man, we should have done that differently, but we learned from it. Those little failures that we now say, okay, that's okay. Next time we'll know better. We'll do different. But we'll make the best of it. We'll learn from it. We'll move on. You know, so many times when I was over here, I wanted to complain. But I was like, what good is complaining going to do? And what good will complaining? It's not going to get paint on the walls. It's not going to get new floor joists in here. Complaining has no productivity whatsoever. Well, anyway, I hope today's video has been a help to you. 10 things to help you bring change into your life. You have to apply these things now. You can't just sit here and listen to this video and say, oh, I'm done. You know, okay, great. Thanks, Todd. Appreciate that. Now I got to take these things out and I got to apply them to my life. I got to make this happen in my life now. It doesn't happen until you start to make the small choices and start doing these things every single day in your life. Well, I hope you have just a great day. I'll tell you, let me close with this. When I did this video once already, and after I got done recording it didn't record. Now, the camera said it was recording, but it did not record. And this video right now is 36 minutes long. And when I recorded it earlier, it was about 36 minutes long. And I got done and I went, okay, the first one was practice. Where's my attitude? Am I going to complain? Am I going to be negative? And I had to say, you know what? That first video take was practice. And I sure hope that this video, because I won't know until we get done, if this one took as well. So I could have got angry. Could have said, that wasted a whole hour of my day, a half hour, whatever it was. But no, I had to view it as practice, because now this is the video that you needed to hear. The first one wasn't. This one is. For whatever reason, this is the right one. So enjoy your day. Best wishes on your change.